Today's Girl Which Way show is brought to you by Pretty Strands Hair Care Line. Created by licensed cosmetologist and salon owner Courtney Patterson, Pretty Strands is a Black woman-owned hair care and beauty product line that aims to keep your strands looking their best on a budget. Go to prettystrands.com and give your hair the love that it deserves. And make sure you tell them the Girl Which Way sent you. Hello and welcome to the Girl Which Way podcast, the show that exists because life is a journey, but you still need direction. Grab your girls and get ready, because each episode will be talking about our real life issues, answering questions, and building solid relationships with one another as we heal and learn. I'm your host, your girl, Shalia Vinny, and today's show is for my stuck people. You're stuck in jobs you don't care for, you're stuck in classrooms studying material you hate, and you feel like you have no way out. You've been waiting for something to happen, just anything to confirm what you already know in your gut. This ain't it. If you were looking for one, here is your sign. Have you ever been frustrated with life? You wake up every day a bit disheartened. You find yourself rushing to get to the weekend because you hate your weekly activities, whether it's school or work, only to go into literal depression on Sunday night because you know in a few hours it's going to start all over again. You're so worn out and fatigued, not always physically, but mentally and emotionally for sure. You can't help that feeling that there's more to life. You can't shake that feeling that this is not who you're supposed to be. You know you're better than that job and this situation, but you're seriously not sure who exactly you're supposed to be. You just know it's not this person. You're not supposed to be the person who rushes through life looking for weekends while wishing weekdays would go by faster. You're not supposed to be the person shortening the days of your life. Every day is supposed to count and matter. If we're always looking for a weekend because we don't want to keep waking up in the moment we're in, something has got to give. You weren't made to go through this life hating each day and feeling despair. If your job, school, or the people around you don't make you cherish the day, then we have a problem. You know, I can remember being this person. That's why this topic is so special and important to me, because I would literally be driving down the highway to my high-paying nursing job while bawling my eyes out. Some of you think that the problem is that you don't make enough money, but I can attest that that's not the issue. I am living proof that you can have a six-figure job and be hopelessly unhappy. That's the worst, because according to all societal standards, you should be happy. And if you're not happy making the big money, you must be some sort of a fool. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't crying because I necessarily hated my job. I was crying because deep down in my soul, there was this voice screaming out to me that this was not who I was supposed to be. Deep down, this voice was pulling me to be who I was afraid to be before. Deep down, this voice was pulling me all the way out of my comfort zone. I was happy that I knew the truth, but terrified to walk away from the security of my job and what everyone would say about me, out here trying to chase my dreams. Then I was afraid of how on earth I was going to make money. I had to come to a crossroad in my life because I knew my good paying job didn't fulfill me and honestly made me sad every day. I knew one thing. If your job doesn't add value to your life and you don't feel good going there, you have to make a decision. You owe it to yourself. We all have something that burns on the inside of us and makes us yearn for more. For some of us, it's teaching, others like to talk and give advice, some like music, and still others love to write. So what's your thing? For me, I've always known I wanted to use my words. Growing up all throughout school, writing was my lifeline. It's my first love. I knew early on that I had a gift for writing because I could always move a crowd with my words. My teachers would use my essays as examples to show other students how to write one. I was always approached to write speeches. Family and friends would commission me to write poetry and love letters for them. I would always speak at funerals and weddings. There is no point in my life that words weren't a huge factor for me. It was always my dream to write and speak. I just wanted the world to read my words and hear my words, which is essentially hearing my heart. So we got pregnant as teenagers and my hubby and I had to find jobs. So writing had to be put on the back burner and kind of put on hold so we could make some real money. Family told me to get a real job and stop living in La La Land now that we had a mouth to feed. So I did. I started working in the medical field as referral coordinator, secretary, medical assistants, pretty much you name it, I took a job, just basically to make ends meet. My managers knew I was smart, so they're the ones that told me that I should go to nursing school instead of assisting the nurses. I should be one, basically. So I knew I could do it. So when my job presented me with tuition reimbursement, it just made sense. So I went to nursing school, and I did so well on my testing, in fact, that I graduated in the nation's top 5% of nurses. Not too bad, right? So I settled into my nursing roles and excelled there and was mostly happy, but only on a surface level, because deep down something was itching to come out. A while ago, I read in the Bible in Isaiah 41:10, where it says, "You will find favor and good success." And very clearly at that moment, it hit me. This wasn't good success. I want you to know this because it really helped me. You can have a great job, you can make some money, you could be the poster child for success. But if it's not your thing, it is not good success. All success is not good success. I knew that I had to find my good success. I just didn't believe that God would give me the desire to do something that I could not do. I just didn't believe that God would torture me by putting this fire in my soul that no amount of money or material things could ever extinguish. It was this nagging feeling that I was in the wrong place in life. So I said, you know what? Forget it. And I just started. I began writing again. My first book, Love Letters to Jesus, came out, and it was so bad, you guys. The presentation of the book, oh my God, I cringe when I think about it. The letters were too small, the cover was blurry and sad. It didn't look very pleasing to the eye, but the words were so good, and that book helped a lot of people. That book got me on some famous stages with some of my ministry heroes. It was like a nod from God saying, "See, I told you. You got this. Keep on going." That terrible little book was the catalyst I needed because it woke me up, and it just woke up something inside of me, and it gave me a passion for more. I learned what not to do with that book as far as the editing and overall presentation. And then I went and studied my craft, and I learned the whole process of how to publish a book. So the next book I published, Little Girl, Don't Get Lost in This World, was my first bestseller. It gave way to my nonprofit, Benny Girl Inc. It's the reason why this show exists today. The Girl Which Way show is literally paying homage to that book. I told you not to get lost in the world in my book, and then I gave you examples of what not to do. Now I'm showing you which way to go. So the next 3 books I put out after Little Girl also became bestsellers. My books are now in Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Apple, Kobo, and international stores worldwide, as well as libraries. Because I started. You will always have fear and uncertainty, but you have to do it anyway. Even this show, you guys, this show was supposed to come out a year before it did, and I didn't put it out because I was afraid, honestly. I was afraid that no one would listen, so I sat on it. Finally, I went for it. I bought and chose the music you hear. I designed the cover and logo. I bought the equipment needed. I set up the format of the show. I do all the editing. When you hear this show, let me tell you, it is all me. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. I started with 221 listeners on the first show. I was so excited about these listeners, I cried tears of joy. Now we have just about 500,000 at the time of this taping. People are listening to the show in over 100 countries and all sorts of beautiful places I can't even pronounce. I flew across the world to speak to the youth in Africa, and this show and my words were truly one of the reasons why that happened. You have to move, afraid and all. The difference between you and I is that I moved. Even if it was slowly tiptoeing over the edge, I moved. Even when I didn't know what was in front of me, I moved. Are you willing to get out of your own way is the question. Let's talk more. Today's Girl Which Way show is brought to you by Pretty Strands Hair Care Line. Created by licensed cosmetologist and salon owner Courtney Patterson, Pretty Strands is a Black woman-owned hair care and beauty product line that aims to keep your strands looking their best on a budget. Go to prettystrands.com and give your hair the love that it deserves. And make sure you tell them the Girl Which Way sent you. So we've been talking about purpose and how we all have one, but you're probably thinking, okay, Shalia, I mean, your story is really beautiful, but I'm really not anybody special. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't even have any real skills. I just want you to know that everyone has a purpose, love. Everyone was put here for a reason. A wise person once told me that your purpose is tied to your passion. So no matter what your purpose is, you'll first need to identify your passion so that you can help it to materialize in your life. Now, some of you are probably thinking, now how could anyone not know what their calling or purpose is? And you might be surprised. So if you're one of those people who's still kind of unsure, I want to try and help. Here are 6 ways to help you find your calling/purpose. Number 1, you're good at it. Your purpose is always disguised as something that you're naturally good at. It comes easy to you. You think this is just something that you're better at doing than most people, but there's so much more to it than that. Number 2, you enjoy doing it. You genuinely enjoy doing this thing. You could spend hours on end and it wouldn't be long enough. Time just flies. It brings out the purest happiness in you. When your job brings you down, this thing does the exact opposite. Number 3, it's not about the money. Most of us head out each day to jobs that we don't particularly care for. We wake up early and we stay late because bills. But what if you didn't have to do any of that? What if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could quit your job today? What would you do? What if some millionaire offered to pay all your bills in full for 1 year just to allow you to focus on what makes you truly happy? Where would you start? What's the thing you love to do, but you're afraid to try because you fear it won't make you any money right now? And of course, you have financial responsibilities. Your job gives you a check. Your calling gives you a purpose, passion, and fulfillment. That is why you see people who burn themselves out all day and all week, and then that they have that second win as soon as they get to the weekends or they volunteer after work just doing something they love. What do you love so much that you would do it for free? Number 4, it can't be about the fame. Authors don't write, to land on bestsellers lists, right? Is it a dream that most authors have? Of course. It's nice. Heck yeah. But most authors write because they simply love to write. The fact that you read our words is a bonus and a blessing. If you never read a word of any of my books, I'd still be an author. And you are who you are, even if no one knows you yet. Don't do what you love seeking money and fame because you'll lose your passion and hunger when things don't go as quickly as you'd like them to. Just do it because you love it. Besides, if you put your energy into doing what you love and you're good at what you do, people will notice. The money will find you and you won't have to chase it or sacrifice your dignity for it. Your gift will make room for you. Number 5, trust your gut. You know what the best way to crush your dreams is? Telling people. Not everyone will understand or be able to visualize what God showed you, and they're not meant to. When we go to others to discuss our dreams, they oftentimes tell us why it won't work. Even well-meaning people will put us into boxes based on who they think we should be, and that's not okay. Never let anyone else dictate the terms of your destiny to you. We don't need permission from anyone to go after our calling. Who cares what they think? Prove them wrong. If you trust God, trust yourself, and trust your gut, you will not fail. Number 6, what are your expectations? This is a good one because some people have found their calling and think that because it didn't work out, it's not meant to be. I want you to shift your thoughts. Perhaps God has a different plan than you do. Imagine, for example, you wanted to go to the NBA, right? But then you got hurt and it didn't work out. So do you throw away basketball altogether because you didn't go pro? Don't you still love the game? What if you could be a referee or a coach or a youth coach or an analyst or work with the team in some other capacity? Would you? What if there's a blessing tied into one of those other areas that you would have never seen if you'd only played? What if you are needed by someone? What if you could pour your passion into helping the next Kobe or LeBron? You never know what's in store for you when you don't give up because things don't go the way you'd hoped. Don't give up on your calling just because it didn't look the way you thought it would. You're still on the right track. Adapt and persevere. Finding your calling or your purpose is great, but the trick is you must not sit on it. Don't be afraid to just try. Just put a bit of work in. You gotta go for it. You gotta try. I get the fact that you work full time, but is it possible that you can work on your dream during the weekends or before or after work? We spend our lives working jobs we don't like, building some other person's dream up simply because we don't have the courage to go after our own. Write out a plan today on how you will change your wishes into actions. All it takes is one step at a time. As long as you're moving towards a goal, that's all that matters. If you must crawl, crawl, but don't stop. You'll never regret trying. You'll regret not trying. You were not made to work for someone else your whole life being unfulfilled, get to a certain age, retire, and die. Go after the life you deserve. You owe it to yourself. It is not easy. Nothing worth it ever is. But whenever you think about how hard it is, ask yourself how happy you are where you are right now, and then move accordingly. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always be where you've always been. Switch it up, babe, and have faith, and watch how doors will begin to open for you simply because you choose to believe in yourself. No matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone tells you, if you feel that you are something or someone in your gut, then that is who you are. Go and make it happen. You will never regret it. It's time. Today's show was brought to you by Pretty Strands Hair Care Products. Please rate the show on your favorite streaming platform and share it with someone who you think needs to hear it and ask them to do the same. Remember, good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. Until next time, your friend and motivator, Shalia. Bye.